In today's episode, you're going to see this trashed dresser get redone in a color that I guarantee you have never seen done before. I picked up this dresser off of Facebook Marketplace. I found it, I think it was about $40, and I asked my husband to pick it up for me. So he was picking it up without me having seen it in person, and had I seen it in person, I would not have even paid $40 for it. It looks like something that was left outside to kind of like just disintegrate. The finish looks gross and swampy looking. There's so many things wrong with this. The top is Formica. It's not even real wood on there. The drawers are like, I don't even know what kind of faux finish you would call that. And there's some nasty looking stuff all over this dresser. So had I known it was in this condition, I would not have paid any money for this. But my husband, being the sweet man that he is, he picked it up for me anyways, thinking that I knew what I was getting into, and he just trusted my decision on buying it, and I love him for that. But it also made for a good opportunity for this ugly duckling challenge. The rules to the challenge are very simple. I challenge other YouTubers to find the ugliest piece of furniture and flip it into something beautiful. The first thing that we are going to do with this dresser is get these handles off. I noticed something really unique about this plate on the front. It was made of the same kind of Formica material as the top of the dresser was, but it's actually reversible, and I thought that was really neat. So one side is blue and the other side is pink. So back in the day, this could be used for if you were having a baby boy or a baby girl, or if you're doing different types of decor, and I think that really speaks to the times that people bought things to last. And although this dresser was not cared for very well, it's going to last, and I'm going to give it a new life. I'm doing it in Black Sands. It's a silk paint by Dixie Belle. I chose this because I needed a black color to be like a primer for the really neat finish that I'm going to do on this. My ultimate look on here is going to be themed after something, and I want you guys to try and guess what that theme is. And when you think you have figured out what the theme of this dresser is, I want you to leave a comment down below in the comment section with the time that it took you in the video to figure out what the theme of this dresser is going to be. I'll give you some hints. It's definitely something that people dress up for on Halloween, although it is not spooky. It is from the past, but not long enough ago to have been considered antique. And when it came out, it was very ahead of its time. So, when you think you have figured out what the theme of this piece is, I want you to push pause on the video, go down to the comment section, and comment what your guess is and what time it is in the video that you've figured out what your guess is. And then at the end, you can go back and see if you guessed it faster than other people did. And if you're having a really hard time guessing what it is, I totally understand, because it's really hard to tell until the end. Now I'm going to use Slick Stick on the top. Slick Stick is something that is like a really hard bonding primer. It helps you to be able to paint on really slick stuff like glass, or in this case, Formica. I want to say I am not sponsored by any product that I use in this video. These are all just products that I had on hand or that I bought specifically for this look that I wanted to get. The color that you saw in the beginning, that little sneak peek clip that I gave you, is actually a pearl color. In order to obtain a pearl look with paint, you have to first either prime in a white or a black usually. And since I'm doing a dark colored pearl that has that blue-green change in it, like a color changing tint, I'm going to start with a black base. If you are going to use pearls that are pink or white or light colored, you'd want to start with a white base coat instead of a black base coat. And if you're going to do red, which is kind of in between light and dark, if you want to do a red pearl, you would also do a black base coat. If you want your pearl to be very vibrant, especially, you're definitely going to want to do black or white base coats. If you want your pearl to be less vibrant, you are going to go with a color of a base coat that is very similar to your pearl. So say you wanted just a subtle pearl color, like if you were trying to do red and you wanted a subtle sparkle to it, then you would paint it red and put that pearl over top of it. You'll see more of what I mean about this pearl and how to do it in these next clips, which I'm about to show you. You're going to start with a clear coat, and I'm using polyacrylic water-based, and I'm using a clear gloss because I want it to be shiny. Then you're going to mix in a mica powder that is like a pearl powder. It is made of mica and it's all sorts of different colors. This one I got off of Amazon. Amazon has endless colors for pearls. I chose a blue-green shifting type of pearl, and the Eye Candy brand is really a quality brand for this type of application. You're going to pour your clear coat into a cup. I do not recommend pouring straight into the spray gun like I'm doing right here. I learned my lesson after doing it. But you're going to water it down. I like to use hot water to water down my clear coat because it works faster. And then you're going to mix your mica powder in. Now this is why I say don't do it in your spray gun. When I did it this way, it actually clogged the filter on my spray gun, so I would recommend doing it in a mixing cup first and then pouring it in so that that mica powder doesn't just sink down to your filter like it did for me. I ended up having to clean out my filter and then put it back together. When it's time to start spraying, a little trick that I used was using a piece of cardboard instead of having to tape off the drawers. This is a really fast and effective way to make sure that you don't get overspray on anything that you don't want it to be on and make the piece look like you spent hours taping it off even though you didn't have to. And when you are spraying it on, a good thing that you could do to make sure that you're getting the right kind of coverage that you want is to test it out on the cardboard first before you start spraying it on your piece of furniture. That way you can adjust the amount of air or liquid flow out of the gun before you start spraying it on your piece. After letting it dry for the rest of the day, this is what it looked like that night. It is extremely vibrant and so eye-catching. It's one of those type of colors and finishes where your eyes just can't stop looking at it because it looks so beautiful, especially under certain lights. Look at that sparkle. The next day, I taped off the base of this piece, and here is where the theme starts to show through a little bit. I'm sure up to this point, you guys were like, I don't know what theme this lady's talking about, I can't figure it out, but it will start coming together now that I am adding on a gold base to the bottom of this dresser. I'm just using Rust-Oleum's Metallic Gold. I love this spray paint, and it looks really beautiful. I've used it on furniture a lot of times. Using the same cardboard masking technique here, and I did tape off. I know I hate taping, but I have to tape off for this because it needs a perfectly straight line across the base. Once that was all dry, I'm going over the entire piece again with just polyacrylic. I'm not putting any more pearl in here because I don't want pearl to get on top of the gold. So I'm just going to put a clear coat over the whole thing to protect the finish. While that is drying, I'm going to work on the handles. I'm going to use the original handles because they're in excellent condition and it will go really well with the theme that I'm going with. They're just plain beautiful anyways. But I wanted to use some rub and buff on there to re-gold the areas that were originally gold and keep that white in there. I think it just looked really pretty and I didn't want to change it too much from where it was. Sometimes original is best. I don't know about you, but there is something about putting the handles back on a piece of furniture that is so extremely satisfying. I practically run out to put them on as soon as the handles are finished and the paint is dry. I did use 2 washers on each one of the screws now that that little oval plate is missing because the screws were a little bit too long that way. After I'm done popping on these handles, I'm going to start making some staging items. Here is where it becomes very evident what the theme of this dresser is. I'm going to paint these shoes a bright red color. The story of these shoes is actually pretty cool. I posted on a Facebook group. A lot of neighborhoods have Facebook groups where they give away things for free, like say, oh, I don't want this anymore, does anybody want it? And I posted on there asking for these shoes and one other thing that I will show you soon. And so somebody gave these shoes to me for free. They were, one of the heels was missing the little padding on it. And so I used them for this craft since they weren't usable anymore as shoes. I'm going to use some decoupage glue. This is the same thing as Mod Podge, it's just the store brand. And I'm going to put it all over the entire shoe. And then I'm going to go over that with some red sparkles. I'm going to clear coat these shoes so that the sparkles don't rub off on anything, and I'm just going to use some spray lacquer because that's what I had on hand. Any kind of clear coat or even going back over with Mod Podge again would be a great way to seal these sparkles in there. That way they don't make a mess everywhere. But have you figured out the theme of this piece yet? It's getting pretty obvious. The next decorating prop that I'm going to create is made out of all of these glass vases. These are another free find that I asked my neighbors if they had left over, since vases are something that are kind of a dime a dozen. And I'm going to put green food coloring in them and then fill them up with water to make them go along with my theme, which is the Wizard of Oz, and more specifically, the Emerald City in the Wizard of Oz. If you couldn't tell what those clear vases with the green water inside were supposed to be, it was supposed to be my representation of the Emerald City with those beautiful tall buildings that you see in the movie in the Wizard of Oz. I also was inspired by a decorator that is on Instagram, and her Instagram name is called Turtle Creek Lane. She decorated a whole room in her house based off of the Emerald City in the Wizard of Oz, and I thought it was so gorgeous that it really inspired me to do this entire dresser based off of how that looked in her home. It was so gorgeous, that green was so vibrant, and I wanted to recreate that in a way that I know that nobody had ever seen before. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to go down to my description box and click on that playlist link to see all of the other Ugly Duckling Challenge pieces. There's over 25 people participating in this Ugly Duckling Challenge, and you will be amazed by the things that they can create. So go check them out and help me decide who made the biggest transformation. See you next time. Bye!